That'll be a nice trip, Mr. Anderson. Is it the New York Fair you're going to?
I'm going to both of them, making a circuit of the entire country.
Swell, you'll be gone a long time. We've checked the car over carefully, Mr. Anderson. That takes care of everything on the 500-mile inspection. The items marked on this check sheet will show you just what we've done. Here's your owner's card. I've detached the coupon covering this inspection. You're entitled to another coupon inspection before the end of the warranty period. If you'll just present this card with the other coupon, after you've driven 2,500 miles, any authorized Packard service station will give you the second inspection specified on the coupon at no charge.
Any authorized Packard service station? You mean any Packard dealer will give me that service, the same as if I bought the car from them?
Yes, sir, Mr. Anderson. Packard service is nationwide. Wherever you go, you'll find the standard Packard service sign means the same fair and satisfactory treatment and the same careful attention to your wants and needs that you get right here. It is a part of our national service policy.
That's a mighty fine plan, young man, but I don't think it'll work out in practice.
Oh, I'm sure it will, Mr. Anderson.
I'll tell you more about that when I get back. But I must be going. So long.
Goodbye, Mr. Anderson. And good luck. Oh, hello, Bud. Did you hear what that owner just said?
Yeah. He's going on a trip, and he doesn't think he'll get the same kind of treatment at other dealerships that we'd give him.
But he's wrong.
Well, he might be right. You know, John. There are thousands of Packard servicemen in this country and he is just one owner. A perfect stranger to all of them except you and me. Do you think he means anything to those other servicemen?
But he means something to us. Surely other servicemen will treat him the way they'd like us to treat their owners. Turnabout is fair play, you know.
Sounds fair enough. But it's too easy to forget. Suppose this owner gets halfway across the country. Here's what might happen.
Say, who worked on this car before?
Why, the men at the dealer where I bought the car.
Well, they sure didn't know what they were doing. Never saw such a sloppy job. Now, when we turn out a job.
But, listen, Bud. Even if it was true, a serviceman shouldn't say that to the owner about another Packard serviceman.
No? Well, John, how many times have you said something like that to an owner just to make him think you were a hot shot?
Me? I never said that to an owner.
Maybe not in the same words, but...
John Upson, where are you?
There's old Sniggle Fritz looking for you. Sounds like trouble to me.
Oh, here you are. Now listen to me, John Upson. How many times have I told you that on tourist cars we've got to have?
There's how your turnabout works, John. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Good riddance. Now, John, you know that when we do warranty work on tourist cars, we've got to have the name of the dealer who sold the car, the vehicle number.
Gosh, you've got beautiful eyes.
John, stop it. Listen to me. With 2 fairs this summer and the Toronto Exposition this fall, we're going to have more tourist business than ever before.
Let's you and I chuck it all and go to one of them.
With 2 fairs this summer and the Toronto Exposition this fall, we're going to have more tourist business than ever before.
Let's you and I chuck it all and go to one of them.
John, that isn't what I mean. Lots of Packard owners will be going to both fairs.
I can't afford both of them.
Silly, they'll be driving 8 to 10,000 miles in 2 or 3 months. Most of them will make 8 or 10 stops for lubrication alone in that time. Don't you see, that'll mean a lot more business for everybody, and since many people will be getting new Packards for their trips, it will mean more coupon inspection on tourist cars. But, you know, John, labor and parts claims are costly if not properly handled. If we all just paid attention to the little details, the claims would go right through and the boss would get his credits promptly without having to send the claims in several times. Why are you so careless on the details? It makes so much more work for me.
Well, if you mean the fuller car that was in here yesterday, maybe I've got what you want.
I never saw the likes of it. Of all the extra work you put me to.
Hey! Is the coast clear?
Come on out, you don't have to be afraid of her.
Yeah, say, what did the boss do without a detail hound like her? She's got a nose like a ferret.
Well, it takes someone like her to keep us in line. She's got a head on her. Give me something to think about. With the tourist business, we've got a three-way responsibility. There's a responsibility to the owner, to the boss who employs us, and yes, to the other fellow, the dealer who sold the car, and to servicemen who work on that car. It starts with the people we sell cars to and those who buy their service from us.
Yeah, what can we do for them? While they're touring, some other dealer handles their service.
But we pave the way. First of all, it's up to us to stamp the delivery date and our firm name on the vehicle number plate when we deliver the new car. If we don't, and the owner goes touring, he's going to have trouble getting the warranty service he's entitled to. Then, we have to fill out the owner's service card and hand it to him, with a full explanation of what it does for him. If it isn't filled out completely, and if we haven't impressed the owner with the importance of keeping it with him, he will have trouble getting the coupon inspections he's entitled to. Then we've got to get a report into the office so they can fill out the redemption certificate and vehicle delivery record form.
You've been talking to old Eagle Eye.
Frida? Well, she did tell me how important it was. Here's the way she explained it to me.
Now, John, here are 3 important points to remember. First, when a new car is delivered, we must fill out completely the redemption certificate and vehicle delivery form. Second, if a car is put into service as a demonstrator, the items or the certificate that apply to demonstrators should be filled out and the certificate sent in. And third, just as soon as the demonstrator is sold and delivered to an owner, a new vehicle delivery form should be filled out completely showing the actual mileage at time of delivery and sent in. You see, we can give a new car warranty on a demonstrator if it is sold before 6 months or 5,000 miles. The complete information must be filed at the factory so that the owner can get the full benefit of the warranty. The redemption certificate and vehicle delivery record should be sent in within 5 days of the date of delivery on demonstrators as well as owners' cars. If it isn't, we may have difficulty getting the allowances that are coming to us, and the same with other dealers.
There you are, Bud. They've got to have copies on file at the factory so they can check requests for labor allowances or for parts replaced under the warranty.
So that's it.
Yes. Except that we ought to do a good job of fitting for delivery and be unusually thorough in checking and conditioning the owner's car before the start of a trip.
Sure, that is what we get paid for.
It's more than that, but if we do our part before the owner starts his trip, that owner is going to be a traveling advertisement, telling the world Packard service is good service and the serviceman who serves me is a good Packard serviceman. Wouldn't that mean something to you? Bud Hanlon, a good Packard serviceman, John. You know the famous Packard slogan, ask the man who owns one? Well, that depends on us. It's up to us to make him glad he's a Packard owner.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Until some other serviceman knocks it in the head with loose talk about the car or the service work that's been done on it, or by doing slipshod service work just because the owner's not a regular customer.
Nuts. Bud. I don't believe any Packard serviceman would do that intentionally.
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's one thing I can do. I can make it a point to treat all touring owners the way I'd like other servicemen to treat our touring owners.
Treat them as if they were your own regular customers?
Yep, and then some. Of course, we ought to wait on him promptly and courteously as soon as he drives in, the same as we would for our regular customers. And we ought to give his car right away in the shop, where possible, so he can be on his way without any unnecessary delay. He'll appreciate that. We've got to remember that the touring owner is a stranger in town. And if he has to stay overnight on account of it, it's probably money in extra hotel bills. We should arrange to drive the owner in his own car to a hotel in case he has to leave his car in the shop overnight. Or, we can have a late model used car assigned to the service department for that purpose, and, naturally, we ought to go out of our way to provide for the comfort of the owner while he waits for his car.
What do you mean, comfort? Plush seats?
No. But let's take a look at the waiting room. Doesn't look so hot to me, Bud.
I don't know, John.
Here's an interesting article on the war in Ethiopia. It's dated 1936. I must have missed that one. Let's get this place straightened up, though. It wouldn't take much to turn it into a clean, attractive waiting room, and keep it clean, too. We better arrange for the porter to sweep it out and dust it at least once a day. Have him go over the chairs with a cloth to make sure they're clean. Yes. It would be a good idea to put slip covers on them. Then we could have them washed. Now, let's look at the toilets.
Better take a broom along. Any time you come in here, you find waste paper and cigarette butts cluttering up the place.
Gosh, Bud, we ought to have this place cleaned out 2 or 3 times a day. A coat of paint would make it look cleaner and brighter and encourage people to keep it clean.
Guess you're right on that. Nothing like a messy-looking or dark toilet to make an owner disgusted with a place. The oil companies think it's important enough that they put inspection on a national basis and advertise it. We ought to take it just as seriously.
Let's make it a point to check up on them ourselves.
I'm with you on that.
Okay. But how about our own appearance? You don't look so good.
You're no Beau Brummel yourself.
I guess you're right at that. Neat, clean uniforms give us a more businesslike appearance and make a good impression on owners, especially women.
I'm for that.
All right. That's a pretty good program now. Let's take time out to see what we've lined up. Guess that just about takes care of the touring owner.
What? Gosh, John. You've forgotten the most important part. The work we're going to do on his car. The first thing is correct diagnosis. The touring owner is dependent on his car for transportation. A breakdown or failure through poor service is inconvenient to any owner, but it may cost a tourist additional hotel expenses or upset his schedule. So, be doubly sure that you are right in your diagnosis. Make sure the condition you are diagnosing is the one he is describing. Then there's price. The Packard owner is willing to pay a fair price, but he does want to know in advance what it's going to cost him. Pricing the order in advance is the surest way of demonstrating, to the owner, that you know what you're doing and are giving him a fair price. Use the standard symbol operations in the service charge manual. If some of the work is not covered by a manual operation, estimate the time required. Then you can price the entire job before the owner leaves. That way, the owner can decide before we start the work whether he wants it done or not. And there won't be any argument about the price later, like that owner from Unionville the other day.
Well, of all the crust! I thought the job would be around $5 and here's a bill for $16.50. Hear that? $16.50. Why, I'd never had the work done if I had known it was going to.
There you are, John. If the order had been priced in advance, that would never have happened. Now, next there's honest workmanship. Bud, if I can't find the trouble or the work done hasn't fixed it, I phone the owner to tell him what additional work is required. Or, to ask him for more information to help me locate the trouble. That's why you should know where to reach an owner by phone. But it may be impossible to reach him by phone. In that case, when he comes for his car, I tell him why it isn't fixed and ask for another chance at it.
I never let him take the car thinking it is fixed when I know it's not, because he'd be sure to have the same trouble again and that I'd make him plenty sour on our service.
And there's the warranty service to which he's entitled, and there's no charge for it. The owner can get the service at any authorized Packard service station no matter where he happens to be. That's important to the owner.
Yes. He doesn't have to pay and then take the bills back to his selling dealer for refund. Those 2 coupon inspections give us a chance to check up on the operating parts of the car during the break-in period. If anything's wrong, we have a chance to fix it before it becomes serious. And we save money by it. An inspection, and maybe a minor adjustment, is cheaper for us than major repairs or replacement of parts, and it ensures owner satisfaction.
Yes, but I've been wondering about that. On tourist cars it doesn't mean anything to us. And we're doing a lot of work that the dealer who sold the car ought to do.
We get credit for it. That's part of our responsibility to the dealer who employs us. But if you want to know how it works, you'll have to ask old Sourpuss. She knows more about it than anybody, including the boss.
Frida? That's an idea. I sure do want to know more about it. I'll see you later. Hiya, babe.
The name is Frida, and this is a place of business.
Okay, toots. Business is what I'm here for. Say, when we do warranty work on tourist cars, Frida, how do we get our money out of it?
Why, John? I never thought you'd be interested enough to ask a question like that. It's really not much different than getting credit on warranty work done on cars which we sell.
I thought it was complicated.
Not if you understand it. First, let's suppose if it was one of our own owners getting warranty work from us. On all labor for inspection and adjustment where no parts are replaced, including the coupon services, we stand the entire expense of doing the work. When we replace the defective part under the warranty for one of our owners, we bill the factory through our distributor for the flat rate time shown in the service charge manual at 1/2 our regular customer labor rate, as registered at the factory. We return the parts to the factory through the distributor with the parts and labor claims. If we do the same work on a tourist car, we make the request for labor allowance just the same. But I fill out an additional tourist pink copy and attach it to the factory copy when we send it to our distributor. You see, John, there's no number on the pink copy. So, after I've typed all the copies, I put the pink copy back in the machine and type in the serial number of the original.
Yeah, but why the pink copy anyway?
That's for the selling dealer. When the request is allowed, it is sent to him so that he will have a complete service record of the work done on the touring owner's car. On tourist's request for labor allowance, we get credit at the tourist adjustment rate of $1.50 per hour. If the selling dealer has his contract with our distributor bills the selling dealer and credits us. If the dealer who sold the car has his contract with another distributor, our distributor sends the request on to the factory. The factory absorbs half and bills the selling dealer through his distributor for the other half. But in either case, we get credit for the full flat rate time at $1.50 an hour. If we replace defective parts under the warranty on a touring owner's car, we get credit for the parts in exactly the same way as we do on our owner's cars. We send the parts with a request for parts adjustment form through our distributor to the factory. But that's for parts only. On the labor for replacing parts claimed defective on tourist cars, we send in a request for labor allowance form and the tourist pink copy to our distributor, using the flat rate time for the operation shown in the service charge manual. We get credit at the tourist adjustment rate of $1.50. If the dealer who sold the car has his contract with our distributor bills him for 1/2 the amount. The other half is billed to the factory. But if the dealer has his contract with another distributor, our distributor bills the factory for the full amount. The factory absorbs 1/2 and bills the dealer who sold the car through his distributor for the other half. It's done that way to ensure that the necessary warranty work will be done on tourists' cars without charging them for it. You see, we get $1.50 an hour for work we do on the cars of other dealers' touring owners. But we're charged only 75 cents an hour for warranty work done by other dealers for our owners. Sometimes when we get the bill, the boss thinks the other dealer has done more work than was necessary, but he never kicks about it. He says that if the factory's willing to spend 75 cents, it's worth 75 cents to us to have the car serviced properly and the owner kept satisfied and happy while on his trip. You see, all the billing has to go through our distributor and the factory. And the information must be complete and accurate. That's why the proper routine in the shop is so important. I don't know why you're so careless about it.
Ah, shucks, Frida. I do the best I can.
Well, surely, John, there's nothing difficult about it. When a coupon inspection is performed, see that the coupon is completely filled out and have the owner sign it and then detach it and turn it in to the office. It doesn't matter whether it's one of our owners or a touring owner. If it's one of our owners, we'll file it with the repair order. That prevents possible duplication of work by another dealer that we'd have to pay for. You can't blame the other dealer, he wouldn't know the work had been done if the coupon wasn't detached. If it's a touring owner, I have to attach the coupon to the request for labor allowance. If I don't, we can't get the credit that is coming to us. That coupon is just like a check. It has to be made out completely and signed by the owner or it won't be honored. Here's the new combined request for parts and labor allowance form the boss is going to start using. It requires the same information as the old ones, except that the parts claim and labor request for installing them are on one form instead of two. It's still up to you boys to get all the information complete. You know I can't guess at it. No matter which form we're using, we need the same information. 1. The firm name and city of the dealer who sold the car. 2. The owner's name and address must be spelled correctly. 3. The vehicle number, motor number, delivery date, mileage, repair order number and date and then. 4th, the symbol number of the operation performed, the exact name of the operation, and the flat rate time for operation. And, with the old forms, if parts are involved, I cross-index the claim tag number on the labor request. Of course, the claim tag on the parts claimed defective should show all the information called for, including a complete description of the trouble. And that's where you can help. Just the word defective won't do. Now just suppose, John, you sent in a water pump marked defective. How in the world would anyone know what was wrong with it?
Gosh. Maybe you're right. It might have a sand hole in the casting, a leaking seal, or it might be noisy, well, anything.
Exactly. We can't expect credit for a part if there's nothing wrong with it. Besides, the factory might send it back and we'd have to pay transportation both ways. Now you can see why claims should be handled promptly and within the 30-day limit. It's expensive if parts are returned and credit is held up or not allowed. Don't you see now why it is so important for you to get that information on all cars, but particularly on tourist?
Gosh, yes, Angel, I thought you were hounding us just to be ornery. But I'm beginning to see that it's part of our responsibility to our boss so he can get the credit that's coming to him for the work that is done. And the owner should not be charged for work done under the warranty. We can get the money that's coming to us for the 500-2,500-mile inspections and other warranty work easy enough if we follow the routine on the claims.
We can if you boys get me all the information, you mean?
That's right, Lambie Pie. Well, I've gotta go. See you later. Well, I got all the dope.
From Old Eagle Eye. Well, John, all kidding aside, Frida knows her stuff. If we'd all pay more attention to her, it would save her a lot of work, and maybe save the boss some money, too.
You're absolutely right on that. It was from her that I got the lowdown on our responsibility to the dealer who employs us.
It is just as important to carry out your responsibility to the other fellow. The dealer who sold the car, for instance.
Yeah, I know. I'm always getting bawled out for doing more work on a touring owner's car than I'm supposed to or not doing enough. Where do you draw the line, anyway?
A little common sense will tell you that. First of all, we get credit for a definite time allowance on those 500 and 2,500-mile coupon inspections. Just keep that in mind, and make the best possible use of that time in the interest of the owner. Give him a square deal. But get the difference between check and adjust operations on the coupons. When it calls for check and adjust, do both. But when it says check, just check up. If adjustments are needed, make a note of them. Then when you are through checking, make all adjustments that you can in the balance of the time allowed. If more time is required for necessary adjustments, make them and list them as additional operations on the labor claim along with the coupon operation.
Oh, now I begin to get it.
And, according to the policy on warranty work for tourists, you do only the warranty work needed to keep the car running so that the owner can continue on his trip. Appearance and mechanical work not necessary to keep the car running should be left until the tourist gets home to the dealer who sold the car.
Yes, but what do you do when you run into a big job?
If the total of the warranty work will amount to $30 or more, we ought to get in touch with the dealer who sold the car. If the dealer says, okay, then we do the work. But not otherwise.
I guess that's the smart way of doing it, just for our own protection, if nothing else.
But remember, on tourist cars lubrication coupons are never to be accepted. They represent a private agreement between the owner and the dealer who sold the coupon book, and nobody else.
Gosh, Bud, that's hard to explain to some owners.
Not at all. Just show him the coupon book. Right on the front page it says that only the selling dealer redeems the coupons. As the back it tells him how the coupons will be extended when he returns home.
I see. If we take coupons, we will not get credit for them from the factory or any dealer.
That's right. There's one thing that sure gets my goat. A loose tongue in front of the owner. John, there's more trouble caused by servicemen carelessly blabbing about the car and about the work other servicemen have done than almost anything else you can think of. You know how servicemen sometimes knock the kind of job that was done before. They probably don't intend any harm. It's just something to say,
Or maybe they are building up their own importance. But it gives Packard servicemen a black eye. The owner not only loses confidence in the man who did the work, but in all Packard servicemen, including the one who does the knocking.
the same thing goes for the man who tries to reassure the owner by saying, "Oh sure. All Packards have that trouble. We know how to fix it." That certainly kills the owner's confidence in the car, and it doesn't add to his opinion of the serviceman.
How much smarter it'd be if the serviceman said, "Yes, we've located the trouble, Mr. Owner. You can be sure we'll take care of it."
That way the owner has more confidence in the car, and in the serviceman, too.
Gosh, you're sure hipped on that.
You bet I am. If you're talking about obligations to the other fellow, certainly the most important one is to make the owner think the other fellow is a good serviceman. A Packard serviceman, and one of the best.
Gosh, Bud, I wonder if other servicemen will do that for our owners who are touring?
You do your part by building up Packard service and Packard servicemen with every touring owner you serve, and you can count another servicemen doing their part.
Fair enough. We'll make all Packard owners think their cars and the servicemen who serve them are the finest to be found. What about it, fellas? Will you do the same for us?